When it comes to seam allowances on a serger, it's a little different game because you have a knife that's cutting off some of your fabric and you either have one or both needles in. Like right now, I only have the right needle in. Now there is a little mark on the front of the housing indicating 5/8 of an inch. So if I was to measure here and to the needle, you can see that my right needle is about 5/8. So if I was to actually put in the left needle, like for a standard 4-thread overlock, I'm actually going to get a wider seam allowance because it's going to come deeper into the fabric. Now remember, some of that's going to get cut off right where the knife is, so leaving me whatever's left in the overlock seam. So if you're actually cutting off and you need to have allowance for maybe alterations, this might be not the time to actually be cutting off the fabric. That would be a good time to actually single edge overlock each piece and then sew with your sewing machine the correct seam allowance with alteration options to go further in or further out as needed. Once that's cut off, there's really not a lot left for maybe allowing a little bit more room in a seam. Now, when it really doesn't matter, like on knit fabrics where there's a little stretch and it doesn't, I mean, you're close, but it doesn't have to be exact, you will have some flexibility. So cutting off some of that fabric will be just fine. But what you need to know is what you're cutting off, how much you're cutting off, and should you be cutting off any fabric. So keep in mind, do a little measuring to your outside needle, whether it's the left or the right, and you'll know for sure if you have the right seam allowance for the pattern you've chosen.